I've been listening to music for a very long time and enjoying it immensely. I think one of my favorite albums ever. I'm not sure it's going to be In the Mouth of the Young. So it's great to finally
Nice.
speak. It's interesting. I just got an email from your publicist, and there was a song attached, "Vampires," which I was familiar with. Well, at least a slower version of that song.
Oh yeah, there's bits and pieces I think that were borrowed from an earlier song. Yeah, it was I don't know, man. Maybe it comes from an old school place of music, but things are never really finished, right? I mean, you
Exactly.
have deadlines and then someone goes, "Hey, we need something turned in." And you're like, "Well, there you go. There you have it." But I mean, there's only so many ideas out into the ether, and there's just some things that you revisit and you put a facelift to this and that. So, yeah, man. I'm glad you like In the Mouth of the Young, man. That's can you believe it or not? I think next year it'll be the 20th anniversary of that album
Mm.
out. That's nuts to say that, by the way.
It's crazy. It's just one of those albums that came at, I think, absolutely the right time for me. I was getting a bit bored with music, and then I'd heard the Revelry, which was fantastic, and that next album just took it. But I've loved everything, to be honest. The last two
Thanks, man.
albums, the last two albums I thought were crazily good. It's So it'd be great to get something new. So what's the plan for the next release?
Yeah, at the moment we're focusing on just some singles, putting together, chasing them down as they pop up. There's a whole slew of demos. We're in and out of the studio at the moment right now. We're pretty excited too. So we just released Space Lord Symphony right before this,
Mm,
and Vampires right now. And we're actually this week going to shoot a video with Steve Stevens, Billy Idol guitar player,
okay.
Steve Stevens. And man, yeah, I reached out to him. Actually, he started liking something of mine on TikTok, which I'm barely ever on half of these thousands of platforms we have to juggle these days. My goodness. And I was like, is that really him? It can't really be that Steve Stevens. And I just wrote him. I was like, at this age and stuff, I got to just get on top of stuff. So I'm like, hey man, this is you. Hit me up. Here's my number. And I forgot about it. And the next day, I got a phone call from a 666 number, and I went, no way, it's got to be this guy. And so I talked to him, and he was the nicest dude. He's been following the band a while. We never met before, and I was like, I'm just gonna go for it. I'm like, hey man, I got this song if you want to check it out. And I sent it to him, and he's like, I'd love to play on that. And I'm like, dude, that's amazing. Let's do this. Or maybe I asked him, I don't know, but either way, he was down. And I'm like, holy cow. So I mean, literally within days, he came back with his guitar playing on it, and it was fantastic. And of course, I wanted to push the envelope again, and I'm like, would you want to be in the music video? Thinking that he'd be like, all right, take it easy, bro. And sure enough, he was super excited and supportive, and he just was just really into it. So like I said, just chasing down opportunities as each single comes out, and not trying to rush it like I have in the past of
Yeah.
because I really want to get stuff out quick. I want to get back on the road while I'm still youngish, and try to keep things moving right along. But I'd rather just take a little bit more time, really be selective, sit on the songs for a little bit, listen to them, and go, I don't know if that one's going to make the cut. Let's put it on the shelf. Let's just keep trucking and writing and see if we can't outdo what we've done. I mean, everyone wants to do that, but it's hard to have the
Yeah.
patience to
Yeah.
do that.
Oh, it is. I mean, I've ne never seen you live. You're one of about three bands still on my bucket list, but I'll get there. I'll get there at some point. So next big tour you do, I'll be back over uh,
Counting on it. I'm
to the
counting on you,
US.
buddy.
Although you've played the UK quite a few times as well, so gone down very
Yeah.
well there. I've got a lot of friends who have seen you live and said that the band, whichever version of the band you have with you, is incredible because, of course, the band's been through quite a lot of lineup changes over the years, and at this point, I'm not quite sure who's in there.
Me and you both, man. I send text messages out and I go, hey, who who's available this Thursday to get together? Man, I really think about that a lot. It used to be kind of scary. I mean, you think back, not going too far back, but you look at like Metallica cutting their hair. It was the end of the world in the 90s,
Yeah.
And I feel like there's bands like Eagles of Death Metal, Queens of the Stone Age, Nine Inch Nails, you name it, where it's a band name and all that stuff. It's not a artist name necessarily, but every time I see a Queens of the Stone Age poster per album coming out, I'm like, who are the three of those
Mhm.
guys?
Exactly.
So it kind of like, I feel like it's not as much of a big of a deal. And plus it's like I usually write primarily most of the music, but this time, these last few albums, it's kind of fun to get into a room with new blood and go, here's, what Bullets is. Most of the people are kind of come into the band as maybe a little bit of a fan beforehand. So it's kind of nice to go, well, what's your bag of tricks and how can I mess with that, and that kind of keeps it new and fresh for me.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the last couple of albums, Waking Up Dead, Right, Rock and Roll, we gave some great reviews that we yeah, fantastic, fantastic records. Where did it all
Awesome.
begin for you, Gene? Like, where did your love of music come from? Was it always around you when you were growing up? How did you get into the scene?
Yeah, absolutely. I had a lot of bombardment from all different types of music. I've always been a fan and always will be a fan of just listening to basic radio. In fact, when I tour, even when I go to Sweden or the UK, I'll sit up front and flip through the stations, and I'm just enamored by what different cultures and different people are playing in their top 40 across the board. And but growing up, my dad, a big band jazz drummer, Dixieland jazz drummer, he sat me down at the drum set, he gave me the sticks and said, I'm going to go take care of something, just have fun. He put a song on called Birth of the Blues, this old blues jazz standard song. And I guess I found out years later, he was hiding behind the wall to see if I had the thing. And I guess I did. And so coming up with weird jazz, which is very, just do whatever you want to do. It's not such structured music. So that was a really weird way, and I still look at music to this day that way. Hence why I worked with the album you mentioned, In the Mouth of the Young, with Page Hamilton from Helmet, who produced it. He's a big jazz head as well, and he heard something in the music I was creating that has some like off the wall kind of changes that aren't necessarily in the format of rock and roll or anything like that. So coming up with my dad doing that, my brother listened to what they call cock rock, 80s hair metal, and everything from Stryper to Motley Crue, and you name it. And my next door neighbors were a little bit older. They listened to classic rock, and then of course my friends were into grunge and punk rock. So I had all this music coming at me, but I've always still unapologetically, shamelessly, will just say that I love still listening to pop, top of the 40 whatever music stuff. And I find that, man, I'll be in the dentist office or something getting drilled on, and whatever music they pipe in elevators and in dentist office, they always play that yacht rocky
Yeah,
type of
yeah,
Chicago and all that stuff. And I'll be sitting there in the dentist chair and I'll hear something like Chicago or something like that, and I didn't realize how much, even on In the Mouth of the Young, I steal from that yacht rock, soft rock 70s 80s era so much, all those Karate Kid theme songs and stuff. It's pretty funny.
yeah. I mean, there's definitely that huge sort of. I guess you're right. I mean, some of the melodies in there are like almost at odds with the music and the drive and the guitars, and I think that's the appeal of it for me. It does have that. I mean, I thought you'd be huge. I mean, I just listened to every album that you put
Me
out.
too.
I think, why aren't these guys up there with like Avenged Sevenfold and Buck Cherry and like all these other bands like that?
Well, I'll be honest. I mean, I could sit there and say like, yeah, you know what? You're right, man. What the hell, right? But truth be told, it's like I have been all over the board, and I don't wear the hats very very well. I put my own personal issues and emotions into it, and that changes up the game a little bit. So every time I put an album out and then people kind of go, okay, this sounds palatable, I'm into this, I go ahead and screw it up, and the next album I put out, I put on some weird, stuff that's a little too soft for the heavy metal people, or a
Yeah,
little too, poppy. So, and but the good news is I follow my heart and just do what I do. I'd like to think that maybe the big picture, if I live long enough, is that I might be able to pull off the thing where he's been around so long, we got to give him some sort of somewhere in there. So I'm just going to keep making records, following my heart, and if something lands, that would be great. My landlord would love for me to sell a song in a good way. I'd things, pay the bills on time would be nice, but yeah, I don't know, man. You just got to make what you love. And I've
yeah,
always been, I love melodic stuff. Like when it comes to rock and roll things, a lot of people would kill me to when I say these things, but I don't care. Is that some of those '70s rocker bands where they are kind of all about indulgence and they just make it like Yodel and Robert Plant, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, and all that. It has its place to me, but for me, what does it for me is when I hear boom. Wouldn't it be nice if we could get like there's a structured melody over some music. Like I am a sucker for that all day and night. And some of these metal heavy rock fans, I hear it and they're just and I get it. You're fucking pissed off. I get it. I get it. But at the end of the day, I just love songs that have these unescapable melodies. You go to bed, you wake up, you're making coffee, you're taking a piss. I can't get the song out of my mind, you know? So it is what it is, you know?
It is, and for me, music is something that can like take me to another place and make me forget about, I guess, everything that's around. So we've been going 15 years this year, so I'm trying to talk to as many people whose music made me put together the website as I can, and just try and get a few birthday wishes. We're going to put together a video at the end of the year of everyone just saying happy birthday, I guess. So if you don't mind, I'd love if at the end of the interview you could wish us a happy birthday. But we also have a radio show that goes out every Thursday locally here. And I want to feature your music next week. So there's a
Great.
couple of things that we ask everyone the first time we speak to them, and we put that clip on the radio and then get you to introduce a couple of songs. So the first question we ask everyone is, if you could have been a fly on the wall for the creation of any great album, any point in the history of rock and roll, what's the album that really intrigued you that you would love to have seen just how it came together?
Oh man. First things first, I'll just tell you, last night, sitting about 10 feet away from here, I said the exact same thing. We were talking, what album was it? You know what it was? I mean, there's no way I'm going to be able to answer that question. There's so many albums,
Yeah,
but just for the sake of funny of last night, you remember that band from Chicago, Illinois, out here called Wilco?
Wilco, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and one of my favorite things is their live DVD, man. There's this live, I think it's something from the Ashes of America or something like that. And I had the DVD. I watched it. It is just unbelievable what the backing band does to that Jeff Tweedy guy's songs or however
Mm.
they do it. And I bought their albums, and I was like, man, the live thing is way more what
Yeah,
it's about for
yeah,
them. Some
yeah.
bands are like that, as you know. And I just was sitting there thinking, how do they do it? Like, does he come in and just stand there? I got the song and he plays it, and then the band just has full blown license to do whatever they want behind it to really bring it to this crazy. Otherwise, it'd just be like another folk song that has
Yeah.
one verse repeated four times. So I don't know, just for the sake of this first thing I could think of, I would love to actually sit there and sit around with Wilco and just be a fly on the wall, as you put it, and just see what they do. I really highly recommend. I know that's not the best of all answers, but for anybody out there, go check out that DVD, Wilco, The Ashes of America. They do the most craziest music behind this guy's Jeff Tweedy's like folk songs. And it just seems so inspiring of like it's limitless stuff that you can do and still have an amazing song and still go off the rails.
Yeah, they do. And the incredible thing is, I saw them live on a couple of dates in Australia
Cool.
years ago when they came down, and I can't remember what song it is. I'll let you know. But they played the same song on the two nights, but played it completely differently.
Really?
And to me, that was incredible. It's like the best sort of like jam band ever.
Right.
The way that they did it. I don't know whether it was just that one song that they did that with, but I thought it was sort of like the solos were different, everything was different. It was
Yeah. I bet
interesting.
that's I bet that's a really cool thing, man, because if I'm just, going off on a tangent quickly here, it's like if you see these bands where they have to literally play the hit songs every night the exact same way, the singer walks over to the right side of the stage every night at that exact point, he raises his hand in the same way. I bet after a while that gets quite, it's not
Yeah.
as enjoyable. But if you're lucky enough to be in a band where there is that room to breathe, that wiggle room to kind of explore on these songs without stomping and trampling all over it, and it's still coming across. I think that's how you can even tour, like especially like over in the UK where you're playing venues that are only a few hours apart. So you're
Yeah.
going to get repeated fans. So, you kind of feel like you're gypping some of these people by doing the exact same shtick between each song, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah, I saw another band, an older band, the other week, and they played in another city, the other side of Australia, the night before. Not only were all the songs exactly the same in the same order, but all of the talk between the songs, which there was quite a lot of, was exactly the same.
Yeah, I've seen that with a few bands I won't mention, but
Yeah.
I actually stood at a soundboard once with one of the lighting guys who was my friend for a big band, and he goes, "Watch this," and he turned his back to the stage to look at me, and he literally mouthed every single like scripted word. That's weird for rock and roll, right? To have it
Yeah.
be so controlled and
It
hey,
is.
whatever you got to do.
Yeah, it is. But I guess if it's a good show and it works, you're sort of tempted to do that sort of thing. The question we always
Sure.
leave people with when we talk to them is a really easy one. What is the meaning of life?
Oh, dude, right? Um, for where I'm at in my life, and for what we're talking about in music, which is my life, I guess, is I think freedom, man. Truly, I know it's a little cheesy, but what I mean by it is as you get older, you just acquire and accumulate more bullshit in your life and more stress and restraint and struggle. And I guess that's just the way society is. But doing what I get to go do and be on stage, I want to try to just be in the moment as much as possible. And I think when people can sense that freedom, man, it's contagious because for just a few seconds, those people in front of you, they forget about their lives too, and then that comes back onto me. And when that weird thing happens, not all the time, but when it does, it is just timeless. Like you don't know where you are, you don't know why it's happening, and you don't know how it got there, but it did, and you just keep chasing that. So for me, I'm lucky enough to get to experience that and then keep chasing it. So it keeps me going every day. As soon as my eyes open, I'm like, okay, how do I get back to that spot? Let's get on it.
Yeah, it, no, brilliant answer. I mean, I think that's definitely a huge part of it. It's like as well, sort of making yourself take that step into the unfamiliar as well. That never goes away for me. It's like some people like to settle down, get into a pattern, and that becomes their life. But to explore and to experience, it's like you said about throwing the top 40 in Sweden, which I can't imagine what that would sound like. But I bet there's a lot of strange stuff in there because
Yeah,
polished
it's funny
rock.
that when you say that, that's the one I was going to tell you about, actually, man. In Sweden, there was a station, no joke, that would play Madonna, and the next song would be Metallica, and then the next song would be like, I don't know, a Bee Gees song, and then it would go straight to like hardcore superstar, something like metal, and then, something like Janet Jackson. And my mind was blown. I mean, I really thought it was an awesome thing because I don't write the same song over and over again, and I don't really understand. Because if you had a radio station that was formatted on the best song is the best song is the best song,
Yeah,
then you can, go ahead and throw me a Celine Dion if you want to, and then go ahead and follow it up with an Iron Maiden song, and we'll be good.
yeah, exactly. Why not? So I think they've got
Yeah.
it right. Um, there's a couple of things I want to do this year. Do you think there will be an album out in the next year and a half?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we were kind of shooting for the end of 2024
Hmm.
to see if we can do it. Like I said, we're popping in and out. We got two different studios we go popping in and out of and working on new stuff, and then we listen to those batch of songs and go, maybe that one. Let's move on. So it's getting close, as we both know. As we get older, these years just diminish so quickly. All of a sudden, it's
Yeah,
January out of
okay.
nowhere. So I'm hoping at the end of 2024, if not definitely early 2025. You know, so
Yeah,
trying to do it right, man.
fantastic. We're doing two things this year. We've got the whole birthday thing, so I'd love if you could say happy birthday to us. It's our 15th year. We're called the Rock Bit. Um, and just basically introduce yourself, say happy birthday, and then anything you want to talk about. So you could talk about vampires, the latest single, or whatever it may be. And then we're asking people who are going to put out great albums this year, and I'll do this sight unseen, just for top 10 albums that they suggest people um, might
Boy,
want to listen to. And you can do that video, you can do that just like most people have put it in so far. Just put a list of 10 albums and a couple of lines about each, why it's important, uh, or why they feel it's important. Completely up to you. Won't be offended if you don't want to do that, but we'd love to sort of keep the band in the, I guess, in the headlights for people to see, hey, there's something coming, there's something coming. So we'd put that out in maybe a couple of months' time, if you're interested in contributing to that. Um,
sure. Is
I've
that
also,
something I would do on my own and send it back to you? Is that what
yeah,
you're saying?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
if that's
Sure.
okay. And
Yeah.
then I'm hoping that my Rockstar's Meaning of Life book is going to be out the end of the year. So
Nice.
your answer will definitely be in that one as well. So there's a
Nice, man. That's awesome.
great answer. And yeah, I think I've got 1,200 now answers to that question over the years. So
Wow.
it's cool. But yeah, if you
Yeah,
wouldn't mind
man.
just doing a birthday shout out, then we'll put in the video for the end of the year.
Okay. Do you want me to do that right here?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay. And just so it's Rock Pit, P-I-T, right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay. I thought I heard, because that's what I read. And then I heard, just thought you said Rock Bit. And I'm like, well, that's clever too. Maybe that's what.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, rocket, as in
Sure.
the whole idea was it was like a cockpit of a plane, but
Yeah, I dig it. So how many years is this now?
15,
15. Okay. So say my name, Bullets and Octane. Happy birthday to Rock. 15 years?
15 years.
You can see that I can't do scripted shit on stage now, can't you?
Yeah.
All right. Sure. I'll fire away. Ready? Hey, everybody. Gene Lewis here from Bullets and Octane. Just wanted to wish the Rock Pit 15-year birthday. Happy birthday. Let's try that again. Hey, everybody. Gene Lewis here from Bullets and Octane. Just wanted to wish Rock Pit 15-year birthday celebration. Happy birthday, Rock Pit. Arr.
That's perfect. You did great there. Ace Frehley did 20.
See, I don't feel so bad, man. You should have told me that first. I wouldn't be so nervous. I'm sweating. I'm sweating a little bit.
Yeah, it's great. No, it's fantastic. So what's the next thing you got coming for us? There's another single on the horizon?
Yep, that's the one we were just referring to. So, like I said, we released
Hmm.
Space Lord Symphony a month ago, and right now we got the Bullets and Octane Vampires song out, and we're shooting the video for a song called "No One Gets Out Alive," and that's going to be coming out the next month or so, and that's with Steve Stevens from Billy Idol playing in the video, playing on the track. It's a face melter. It's a Guitar Heroes, celebration. I think there's going to be 3 guitar players in the music video. It's going to be crazy, man.
It sounds
Yeah.
fantastic. If ever you need anything, just get in touch for your guy. I mean, we're easy to get hold of anyway. My email's on the website, so if ever you need anything, just hit us up. Always out there to support. Well, I mean, let's face it, I'm pretty selfish. I support the music I love, and that's how it goes. So that's
Yeah, good for you, man. I think about when you guys do these things. I think I'd be the same way. I think it
yeah.
would have to be mainly stuff I'm into. So I appreciate that we fall into that category. Thank
Yeah,
you.
I mean, I'm lucky in a way. I mean, I started it 15 years ago. We've got 62 people now who work on the website. So
Wow.
I've got the luxury of only doing the stuff I want to do. So it's
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
I think you just answered the question about what life's goal or the thing you were talking about. I think you nailed it, my brother.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to talk to the people who make the music I love to find out how they do it. And I
Yeah.
yeah, we've got to catch up again and just talk about songwriting and stuff like that. So
Dude, I would love to. That's like my favorite thing. I mess with everybody. I go wait at the grocery store and I'll be like, "Hey man, what do you think about the new Hives album?" And they're like, "We don't know what you're talking about. Get out of here." You know. So I love talking about that stuff. Anytime, man. That would be great.
sounds cool. Thanks so much for your time, Gene. It's been an absolute privilege. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate. Take care.
See ya.
Bye.